So hello everyone and welcome back down to the plot. So my plan today is to get started with the construction of the new Polytunnel. So I mentioned it on my plot tour yesterday. I've managed to get hold of a temporary polytunnel. So the issue we have down here is we're not allowed permanent structures, which rules out a normal polytunnel. So what I've had to do is get one of the like your cheapy little plastic greenhouses that you get with the poles and the kind of clear and green thread type covers. So I've got a kind of a version of that as a polytunnel. So it's 2 by 3 meters long and 1.9 meters tall. It's not the kind of cheapy green poles with the little plastic connectors. It is a fully galvanized structure which is held together by nuts and bolts, so it should be a bit stronger in terms of structure. Obviously the cover is still not going to be perfect, but the idea is I can either buy a replacement one of those or buy some sort of plastic sheeting to put over it when the time comes. Or failing that, I'll buy a second one, use one as a netted tunnel, which I'll put my brassicas in, and then build a second polytunnel at some point. But that's hopefully a few years down in the future that I have to worry about that. So it's going to be at the back of plot 89. I'll show you the area that I'm going to put it in. So here we go. This is the back section of plot 89. As you can see, I've lifted the pond out of the ground and just moved that over here. So this is going to be incorporated in the allotment still, but hopefully I'm going to upgrade my pond. So I've got some pond liner left over from when I built a pond at home. Hopefully build like a 2-tiered pond with a little solar pump, from one end up to the other, with a small little waterfall coming over the edge back into the bottom pond. I've left this filled just because there is plenty of wildlife in this pond. I'm not sure if we can see where he is. Let's have a little look. Is he hidden under here? Yeah, there we go. We've got a little froggy that lives in here. There is another one in here somewhere as well, and possibly a third. There's lots of insects and things in here, all of which are decent food for our little froggy friend. So the first task for this area is measuring out where I want this polytunnel to go. So the idea is I'm going to have, over that back section is going to be a thin flower bed running along the side. I'll do kind of wooden edges. It's going to be very similar to one of these type ones, but it's going to be longer. So it's going to be 4 meters long by 50 centimeters wide. This part here, there's going to be some steps going down, and then the polytunnel itself is going to be dug into the ground to reduce its height. Part of that's going to help keep it slightly warmer in the winter if it's below the ground. It's going to be shielded slightly from frosts and things like that, but also reducing its height reduces the risk of me being told it's too big. So it's 1.9 meters in total. The height, it depends how far I can dig down. If I can dig down, even 50 centimeters or more, that should reduce the height nicely. So first thing to do is mark that out. So I'm going to have the steps, as I say, coming down here, flower bed along that side, and then obviously polytunnel running up along here. So I'm going to get that all measured and marked out, and then we can have another look. So here we go. I've done a bit of measuring. So as we can see, we've got this section here, which is going to be steps down, or a step down, probably 2 or 3, down to the level of the polytunnel. Along the side here is where that flower bed's going to be, and that's going to come all the way along to the top of where the steps are. We'll then obviously have a doorway in the polytunnel here, which will go in this section here, and it has still left us a decent amount of space this side, so I should be able to get a few beds alongside here. So I'm potentially thinking long bed along the side here, walkway down the middle, and then another long bed, and then we can have a footpath here that will run along to that back section once that gets cleared in the winter when it's all died back. The plan up there being to have a nice wildlife area with the pond, and also some more beds if we can fit them in. So then it's on to the next task, which is digging this space out. So ideally, I'd like to dig deeper than the pond is. It might be a bit easier than when I dug the pond because I've got the newer rotavator, which is a little bit more manoeuvrable when it's kind of trying to dig in small spaces. The old one was quite big and bulky and quite difficult to do this sort of thing with. So hopefully this one will be a bit easier to dig down with, but we'll soon find out. So the plan is to use that to loosen up all this ground, because as you go down it does get quite, as you can imagine, compacted and difficult to just dig in. So I'll use that, rotovate down, dig all that soil out, rotovate down, dig all the soil out, rotovate down, dig all the soil out, to what I think is a decent depth. So I'm going to get on with that and we'll check back in a bit. So as you can see, we're making some progress. So the hole is probably about 30 centimetres deep here. Obviously I need to spread that right out to the 3 metres and then hopefully dig down a little bit deeper as well. I think if I can get to 50 centimetres, I'll be happy, but we'll see. I have noticed some other people on the plots have got, if you look over in that direction you might be able to see there is some other little greenhousey type things. So hopefully as long as I make this a little bit shorter, we'll be all right. This is doing really well. Getting down, loosening it all off so I can then shovel it over into the wheelbarrow and come and stick it on this pile, which I'll use later for filling beds and things. So let's carry on. So I thought I'd show you thought I'd give you another in progress kind of glimpse at how we're doing. So as you can see, it's a reasonable height that we're down. And we've managed to get from where the old pond used to be all the way up to the other end. And I'm now just kind of widening out the area up to where the line is. So just in progress of digging all this out, and then we'll kind of reevaluate probably for tomorrow how much more we're going to dig out. Probably won't get all the way around the edges today, just 'cause I'm running out of fuel with that rotavator. As you can imagine, it's quite hard work digging all that soil out of the ground. So I'll carry on for a bit, see where we get up to today, and then probably call it a day before too long. Right, a little bit more work. As you can see, I've now sort of brought the edges out to the line pretty much. You might be able to see the other end is not quite as deep as the pond end, but that's just going to be a case of going over it a few times with the rotavator, raking the soil out and then moving it out of the hole. But as you can see, for actually a couple of hours work, it's been hard work, but we've started to make a decent dent in this polytunnel area. So there we go, that's it from me today. I will keep you updated with this. I hope to be back down tomorrow. Hopefully finish this hole off tomorrow and maybe start looking at getting the polytunnel actually up. Certainly the frame anyway tomorrow. It just depends how things go tomorrow, what the weather's like, etc. But a couple of hours work down here and I'm absolutely knackered. So I'm going to head home. We've also run out of fuel with the rotavator. So I need to go and mix some more 2-stroke fuel when I get home. So as I say, that's it for today. So thank you for watching. Take care. Happy allotmenting.